Good afternoon and welcome. Welcome indeed, yes, to a Wednesday edition of the Mark Moses Show podcast, as we're always broadcasting from the Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorney Studios. Take back control of your life. Call them today, 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733. It's Anidjar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Now, this gentleman was texting me at 12:30 in the morning to go over some late night basketball. I fell asleep by then. You're a wild man because you eat, sleep, and drink basketball. He is basketball coaching legend and my great friend, yes, Coach Billy Mims. How you doing, buddy?
I'm a little tired, actually.
I don't blame you.
You know, the worst thing about like cable television now, or like streaming television, because I'm a YouTube TV guy myself.
Yeah.
But the worst thing about it is that, you get games all day and all night, and those West Coast games that used to never come on regular television because they were too late. Yeah. Now they're always on. And it's like, oh, wait, BYU are having a great season. They lost a great player in Richie Saunders. You hate to see that. Several teams. I mean, Texas Tech lost Toppin, teams that were in the mix, like top 10 type programs that could make a run to the Final Four, have lost some great players. So you kind of want to see those teams play, even though some of them like BYU are out west and come on late. But then, okay, UCF, we're playing them. My son is a recent graduate of UCF, and I've been over to see a few games. Don't know Johnny Dawkins, but quite pleased with the job he's done this year. And one of the associate ADs over there in charge of basketball, the basketball program, Rich Zavozic, is a close friend of mine who I've coached against when he used to be the head coach at the University of North Florida. And he's invited me to some UCF games this year. So there's a lot of, connection there. So I said, you know what? I'm going to stay up and watch the Knights go out west to Utah and see if they can handle the Utah climate, the cold nature out there, and what they'll do against BYU.
Well, what's interesting is, so a couple days ago, they beat the Utah Utes by 2 points. So they had to play 2 games. This goes to a bigger problem with the Big 12. I'm still confused by some of these teams that UCF is playing, where maybe we should still have the Pac-12.
Mark, I don't mean to interrupt you, but you say it's a problem with the Big 12? What are Stanford and California doing in the, I grew up on Tobacco Road.
Yeah.
ACC, I've followed all my life, right? Does it still stand for the Atlantic Coast Conference?
No.
Why are teams in California in the Atlantic Coast Conference? We got to change some names or something here.
I agree with you 100%. But yeah, seriously, UCF flew from Orlando, Florida to Utah to play 2 different games in a couple days. But look, give credit to the Knights. Again, 2-point win against Utah. Then last night in this game, I think it was over in the first 2 minutes where it was like 14-4. UCF just, and then also, and you texted me this last night. There was a point there. UCF was up 35 points
in the second half.
In the Cougars, I know they won by 13. It was funny. They did this stat with ESPN. They're like, oh, it's the biggest road win against a ranked opponent for UCF. They won by 13. 13! Again, they're up 35 in this basketball game. They smoked that team. And it's funny where BYU was ranked 19th last night in this basketball game in the latest poll. But what's weird, they're only a game better in the standings. They were what? They were like 20-7. UCF was 19-7 going into this game.
Mark, you look at so many. If you look at the top 20, which I was having a look at yesterday, top 25, there's so many teams that are like 6 and 7 loss teams in there, and yet teams in their own conferences. I'm talking about teams in the ACC. One team is ranked, the Blue Bloods tend to get ranked because of their name, and they can be 20-7. And then there'd be another team in their league that is not officially a blue blood, and they might be 19-6 or 21-6, and they're not ranked. So right now, to me, the rankings are a lot of politics and name recognition, right? If you got the name and you're a blue blood, you're going to get a little extra points for that. But I've said to you earlier, remember this? I said after watching UCF beat Kansas earlier in the year, right? I was at that game, and I said, you know what? This should be a top 25 team. And so they got in for like one day and one game. Then they lost the game, and they've been out ever since. I mean, come on. Kansas, North Carolina, they've been in the top 25 all year, and they keep losing games. Their record is no different than a UCF. For my money, UCF are playing really good basketball right now. They've been consistent across the season, have played well. Like you said, it was another top 25 win for them last night. They should be a top 25 team, have played like one all season. And I think Johnny Dawkins has put together a team. I've said it earlier, and I'll say it again. They're an NCAA tournament team. Now,
I agree.
How far they can go depends on who they match up against.
All right, so they are the latest standings. They are 20-7. They are 9-6 in the conference. They're in the middle of the pack. It's still just like gauntlet where teams are killing each other because you have, like you said, Cincinnati beat up on Kansas, right? Okay, you have Arizona who could still be the number one seed in the NCAA tournament. There's all these teams going against each other. Again, they're 9-6 in conference. Here's who they end with because next week's going to be March. So you have Baylor at home this weekend on Saturday, Oklahoma State next Tuesday. Then you're at West Virginia on 3-6. 3 games to go. I think they punched their ticket. I still would like them to win their last 2 home games, maybe win a game in their conference tournament, but I think they're in. I think they punched their ticket with that win last night.
Well, you just said it, but if you look at their schedule, okay, they've got Baylor at home. Now, Baylor played really well last night against a very good basketball team, another ranked opponent. Baylor almost knocked off Arizona again, and lately, I mean, Arizona needs some wins because they were on a little bit of a downtrodden, They won their first 23 games, I believe, and then lost 3 straight. Again, it's conference time. It's late in the season. Teams have developed. Some teams have lost key personnel. Some teams have gotten better, and younger players have stepped up and developed over the course of the season. But when you get into the meat of Big 12, Big 10, ACC, SEC play, anybody can beat anybody. And, you can see that. So even though Baylor was 14 and 14, they can compete with anybody in the Big 12. So if I'm UCF, I can't say, hey, we just beat Utah at Utah. We just beat BYU at BYU. Now we're back home. Baylor's going to be easy, okay? One of the Drew boys coaches Baylor, and we know that's a basketball coaching legacy there. That family is a basketball royalty family. And the guy can coach, okay? They've been in the Final Four. They've gotten all the way to the Final Four. They've gotten to a championship game. Come on. They played in the national championship, right? So when you look at that, that's still a tough opponent. Thankfully, it's a home game here in the Sunshine State in Orlando. Hope the crowd turns up for it. But that's a huge game. Then they've got Oklahoma State at home, who are 17-11. They're not a bad basketball team. Their final game, regular season, they travel to West Virginia, who are 16-12. Trust me, a 16-12 West Virginia will be a tough get on the road in West Virginia, up there in the mountains of West Virginia. So it's still, I think it is a tough end to the season, but they could win all 3. And so you look at where they are now, they're 20-7. If they finish the regular season, Mark, 23-7 with the teams they've beaten and on a roll down the stretch, again, obviously postseason tournament will matter as well. But I think they become a really, they're not going to be a tremendously low seed in the NCAA tournament. Joe Lunardi better start scratching them a little higher and higher.
think about what you just said. You flew to Provo and Salt Lake City, then you're going to Morgantown. I mean, you're flying like it's I think it's the hardest conference in college basketball. Okay. Not maybe, oh, it's the best. No. I think it's a gauntlet, and they have been in every single basketball game, even in losses, and they have beaten multiple ranked basketball teams. I think it's phenomenal. And I think if you're a Knights fan, you got to get ready. All right, where are we playing in the tournament? Where are we going to go? Right. And I know there's going to be games at Tampa this year for the
That's
first.
right.
Oh, so if you're here in Central Florida, you're begging for that.
Oh.
Yeah, we want to go.
I hate to say it, but I believe the NCAA should try and do more of that. Right. In the first round games, try to schedule big matchups between regional teams that might haven't played, or teams in the same state that might haven't played, and send them to a regional. Because, we're talking about March Madness, and every office pool, every office around America, every water cooler around the country will be talking about it starting on that Thursday, right? Because there'll be an office pool. Everybody enters it, right? But then you watch some of these games, and these great games, these huge upsets always happen in the first and second round. So the biggest upsets you're going to get a chance to see are in those very first and second round games. And a lot of the time, empty crowds. You see empty seats, not a lot of people there, because you've got some mid-major that was sent to travel thousands of miles from home, and their fan base just can't afford to follow them that far away. Flights, hotels. Oh, do we go for one game or do we stay for two? It's difficult. So it makes it much more sensical if the NCAA selection committee would decide to put some rivalries together from teams within the same geographical regions, is my opinion.
So what you're trying to say is we don't want to go to Spokane, Washington, okay? That's what we don't want to do, all right?
But I want to go see UCF play in the tournament, and if they're in Tampa, you and I are going.
We are going, absolutely. I want your thoughts on this real quick. If I switch gears to the SEC, I've been very impressed by the Gators from the standpoint of I don't think they're as talented as last year's team. I mean, that team had 3 NBA players on it, and they won the national title. They lost them. They had to reload their team. They've won a lot of basketball games this year, and I think Todd Golden, I think he's under the radar. I bring this up. I know it's only Wednesday. College Game Day has already made it. They said Arkansas, a team you know very well about.
Very, very well.
Yeah, and your daughter covers them, and you've done many shows with her breaking down the Razorbacks. I think they're making the right decision for Saturday. I think it's going to be a hell of a game there at the O-Dome.
Maybe you and I ought to be in Gainesville on Saturday.
Oh, man. Oh, that. Oh, are you driving? Because I hate that drive. But look, dude.
Yeah, you get us press passes. I'll do the driving.
All right. If I bring this up, okay, because you tell us about, I'm just trying to bring, I didn't do the prep on this. I got to type in real time. I don't have a producer.
That's all right.
So Gators have, if you look at this, all right, Gators are 7th in the country. They're going to be at Texas. They should win that basketball game tonight. Then this weekend, they host Arkansas. Latest poll, they are ranked 20th overall, 7 versus 20. Dude, what do you think of Arkansas? Because I think they're one of these dangerous teams that can go to the O-Dome and actually win the game.
I think, you've got a Hall of Fame basketball coach, John Calipari.
Yeah.
And Arkansas right now, like you said, I mean, I even actually think Arkansas are better than their record. I think they have a much better team than what their record shows right now. They've lost a couple of games that they shouldn't have lost. They're 20-7, same record as UCF.
Yeah.
And that's why I say I think Johnny Dawkins, for the success he's had in the Big 12 and the road wins he's had, the top 25 wins, they ought to be ranked. I mean, Arkansas is 20th in the country right now. And for my money, well, that's a top 20 team, no doubt in my mind. I think so is UCF. But now when you look at Arkansas being 20th ranked, going up against a 7th ranked Florida. Florida are 21-6. Arkansas are 20-7. Records are almost identical. What I like about Arkansas is if they're fully healthy, they have the best backcourt in the country. So this is going to be a game. Arkansas, Florida is going to be a game of almost two different type styles, right? Because Arkansas rely on their freshman phenom backcourt. Both of those guys are Darius Acuff and Malik Thomas. Those two freshmen are going to be in the NBA next year. They're one and dones. Okay. Malik Thomas, there's some talk that he might stay, but I don't know. I mean, again, it's difficult to say no to the NBA and that kind of money, even though he's making good money, I'm sure, with NIL at the University of Florida, at the University of Arkansas. But Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff Jr., Darius Acuff Jr. is a lottery pick. And you know what, Mark? He is definitely going to be the SEC Rookie of the Year, right? He's already been Freshman of the Week 7 times, okay? He is going to be the SEC Rookie of the Year. But he also leads the SEC in scoring. He might be the SEC Player of the Year. You can be Freshman of the Year and Player of the Year. And believe me, more and more with these one and dones, you're going to see that happen, right? The guys that he's going to be in the NBA next year. Why can't he be the best player in our league this year? And he's going to be a lottery pick. He must be one of the best players in the league. So Arkansas bringing a great backcourt with an NBA backcourt coming to Gainesville. On the other hand, Gainesville have a great inside game. Florida have some veterans inside. They've got Condon, who's been there, done that, knows the ropes. Houck, another one that has been there, done that. Those guys won a national championship. What's the big horse? I forget his name because it's hard to pronounce,
Can't do it either. Look,
you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. But he's a beast, right? He is just a beast in the paint. So Florida have size, athleticism, and they have an inside game. If there's a weakness to the Florida Gators right now, it's three-point shooting.
Yeah, they don't have. Look, it's not like last year where you had Clayton Jr. right dropping 30 a game. You don't have.
And again, they got an Arkansas transfer, so there's going to be another little rivalry there. Boogie Flan was on the Arkansas team last year that had a very good run in the NCAA tournament, and when they lost out, it was a very close game. I actually thought the way they were playing down the stretch and in the NCAA tournament, I thought Arkansas could have gotten to the Final Four. They were capable last year of being another SEC team in the Final Four. So Boogie Flan, again, that floor general, he plays a little bit like an Allen Iverson. He is quick as a jet, tough as nails. Downhill, he's tough to stop. He's very creative at getting to the basket and scoring, but he's also really good at finding his teammates, dishing off and creating opportunities for open teammates. As I said, I think Florida has one of the best inside games in the country. They win games, I think, for 2 reasons. They dominate points in the paint, whether it's big scoring inside or guard scoring inside. Boogie Flan getting into the paint, scoring. Those are still points in the paint. Sometimes people get confused, Mark. They think points in the paint are just big guys. No, anybody can get points in the paint. And the Gators find a way to get a lot of points in the paint. They get fouled a lot. They get to the free throw line a lot because they attack the rim. They attack the paint. So they're very good at scoring points in the paint. Another reason they're good at that, offensive rebounding. The Gators rebound. They crash the boards, and they're one of the best offensive rebounding teams in the country. So even though they don't shoot it that well from 3, they make up for it by crashing the glass and getting second and third chances and finally scoring inside. And sometimes they might not shoot the 3-pointer so well, Mark. They get the old-fashioned threes. They get fouled at the bucket and go to the free throw line. 3, it's 3, whatever way you got to earn it. So I like Arkansas's backcourt, but I do love the way the Gators attack the rim. They score in the paint. They rebound. They're beast on the glass. Arkansas, on the other hand, just to finish the whole point up, 2 things about the Razorbacks. They are one of the best 3-point shooting teams percentage-wise in the SEC and in the country. That backcourt I was talking about, that NBA backcourt, Malik Thomas and Darius Acuff Jr., both of those guys shoot around 40% or better behind the arc.
Ugh.
So they got really good shooters. And on top of that, they got a great shot blocker who kind of plays. He's a rim protector. He's long. He's athletic. Trevin Brazil. And he's a vet. He was there last year. He's way better this year. Coming back this year, he's going to be an NBA player. And he runs the floor like an antelope. He blocks shots. He's a rim protector. So he'll be a defensive problem for the Gators inside. So is Malik Ewan, the other big there, Nick Pringle, who used to play at the University of South Carolina. Nick Pringle is also a big that is dangerous inside for Arkansas, offensively and defensively, right? So the Razorbacks can shoot the three. Mm-hmm. They can score inside with their bigs. And defensively, their bigs will be a good matchup for Florida's bigs. I think this is no wonder College Game Day is going to Gainesville. This is going to be a great matchup of the defending national champions against the Arkansas Razorbacks and a Hall of Fame head coach, John Calipari.
All right, look at this, Coach. All right, the SEC, there's a lot of parity. So here, Southeastern Conference standings right now. Florida is leading the way, 12-2 in the conference, 21-6 overall. Bama's right behind them. Arkansas is also. Alabama and Arkansas are both 20-7 and both 10-4. The winner of this game could pretty much, you have an inside track, winning the regular season, being the 1 seed there in Nashville for the conference tournament. Florida has a chance here. If you win your conference tournament, you could be a 2 or 1 seed.
Yeah,
like in the tournament in this. So,
they have always been sort of like blindsided a little bit this year by the pundits, right? Because they lost some games early, and because they didn't, they were a developing team. They have a new backcourt.
Yeah,
their backcourt is not the backcourt. Not you talk about Clayton, but he wasn't the only guard they lost. So the Gators backcourt, they're starting 1 and 2, were not on the team last year. They were not in the national championship game last year. So they had to develop some chemistry in the backcourt. They had to develop some chemistry throughout their team. And I just believe Florida have gotten better and better and better as the season's gone on. But saying that, Mark, so have the Arkansas Razorbacks.
They're right there. They're right there. If
both of those things, for my money, they are the two. I don't put Alabama in that same boat, right? And it's not because of the controversy with the NBA player playing some games or G League player, whatever. It's got nothing to do with that. For my money, Alabama were better without it, right? But I just believe that Arkansas and Florida right now at this moment in time, going into getting ready for postseason, they're the top 2 teams in the SEC. And if you're a top team in the SEC, you deserve a number 1, number 2 seed, period. The top 2 teams in the SEC should be 1 and 2 seeds. I don't care because they're that good of a conference. So they still, everybody wants to say, yeah, but this is the year of the Big Ten. They're so good. Or the Big 12 are so good. The ACC's down. You hear all this stuff. Duke just beat Notre Dame by like 50 yesterday, right? I mean, I don't see the top of the ACC being down. Duke beat Michigan. They knocked Michigan out of the 1 spot. But again, I look at, Duke is the best team in the ACC. Michigan's probably the best team in the Big Ten. Arizona, possibly the best team in the Big 12. But I like Iowa State. I really think Iowa State, they're 23-4 right now.
Just think of this. Houston. Yeah, it's funny you bring that up. I just want to say this to you. So we started with UCF. They have 20 wins. They're in the middle of the pack in the Big 12. Mm-hmm. Florida has 21 wins. One more win, and are in first place in the SEC. That's all you need to know.
Yeah, but sometimes, Mark, that's deceiving. That's a little bit deceiving.
Okay, all right.
And there's two reasons in that. There's two reasons. The strength of a conference, we don't know this. You can't absolutely say this yet. But what if the SEC is still top to bottom? What if? It's a what if. I'm not saying they are, okay? What if off paper, not on paper, okay, on the court, on the wood. I know paper's made from wood, but on the real wood, okay, where games are won and lost night in and night out, not on paper, not in the national rankings, on the court. What if the SEC top to bottom is a little bit better than the Big 12 top to bottom? Maybe, and then so that's number one. So maybe teams in the SEC are beating up on each other more than teams in the Big 12 are beating up on each other, okay? That's one scenario. Number two, both of these leagues are so big now. They're not 10 teams in the Big 10. They're not 12 teams in the Big 12. They're so big, right? Well, you know what that means? They don't all play the same schedule.
No.
They don't all play the toughest teams in the league. So some of the teams that have such good records might be not playing enough of the top teams. And they're getting the schedule this year favors them. They're playing more middle of the table and bottom of the table teams. Or they don't play the top teams twice. They only play them once. And so, again, in certain leagues, the top teams play each other twice, or the top team maybe, this year the league gave me a tough schedule, and they're playing 5 of the top 6 teams in the league. You see? So
crazy.
You can't really, it's like comparing apples to oranges right now. The best teams in those leagues, for my money, I don't care if it's any of the Power 4, the best teams in those leagues are going to be great teams in the NCAA tournament. Hard to beat and have a great shot at getting to the Final Four.
Look, just put Florida and UCF there in Tampa for the first round. They don't have to face each other. We're just being selfish. You want to see that. The other news and note, I know, what was it? Jermichael Stillwell there with the Knights got ankle injury. There's no update. I asked Matt Murchell, the Orlando Sentinel, covers the team. He's like, no update at this hour. We'll keep you posted on that, but they're going to need him. They're going to need him.
And I don't know why, because I haven't been following every single game, but I watched last night. Riley Kugel didn't play last night.
Yeah, they're going to have to get him back as well.
And I know he's in, but I don't know the status on him, or how long he's out. Will he be back soon? But he's another, for me, for them to go win those 2 games on the road and Riley Kugel is out, he's one of their biggest offensive weapons, certainly behind the arc. And I think, again, Stillwell returns, Kugel comes back. This team can do some damage.
Let's end with this with Coach Mims, and I appreciate coming on. That's college basketball. Real quick, I want to go over these stats with you because I did my research for you today, all right? I did. All right, so if we go to the NBA, the Orlando Magic just wrapped up a West Coast trip. They defeated your boy, Luka Doncic, and the LA Lakers last night by a point, 110-109. After they just beat the Clippers, in their last 8 games, they are 6-2. We know that Franz Wagner, we learned about this last night. I know Franz was talking to the media yesterday. Franz is out for about the next 2.5 weeks. Then they're going to evaluate him again with the ankle injury. The Magic are 31-26. That was a big win last night against the Lakers, a game where they should have lost. They got it done. Paolo Banchero, I don't know what's going on. It's like he snapped and he woke up. 36 points in the win, led the way, and he defended Luka on that final possession to make Luka hesitate and not take the final shot. That was a good win.
It's a great win. It's an off-the-charts win, right? And I'll say 2 things about it. Number one, they go on the road and beat the Los Angeles Lakers, one of the storied programs in NBA history. You didn't beat them in Orlando. You had to go to LA and beat them. You beat them on the road, on their floor, one of the most storied programs, one of the most successful championship programs in NBA history. That's number one. Number two, the Lakers' two best players played. They were healthy, right? And we're talking about the Magic went to LA and beat a Lakers franchise on their floor against two players that are in the conversation as the GOATs already. LeBron James, as many people out there think he's the GOAT at the moment, right? Mm-hmm. Luka Doncic, many people out there think if he plays 18, 20 years and continues the stats, he's going to break every record and he'll be the GOAT. So you've got a franchise that's a storied franchise with two guys in the conversation as two of the best players in NBA history, and the Orlando Magic go out there and win. And as you said, on the last play of the game, Paolo Banchero defends Luka Doncic and does a great job, forces a tough shot. Luka doesn't make it. The Magic win by 110-109. Great road win. But you know why they won the game? Another reason they won? You and I have said this multiple times this year. Batman and Robin showed up and played like Batman and Robin. Paolo Banchero and Desmond Bane. They looked like the guys who the Magic spent the money to get.
I agree with you 100%. That 1-2 punch is finally starting to click. We've been waiting since October, November, December, January. We're now in finally. And if you go to the stats, one guy's leading the team in scoring one night, 30 plus, then it's Bane, then it's Paolo, then it's Bane. And the other one that showed up last night, who has not, I'm sorry, he's not had a good year. Wendell Carter Jr. had 20 and 12.
Yeah.
And he had the game-winning shot. He tipped it in with about 10 seconds to go. Huge win for them. Now, you can't come back because they're going to have a 4-game homestand. You're going to play the Rockets, which are kind of a good team. I know they're up and down. You can't lay an egg, though, in your next game. You can't.
The Rockets are good enough to beat anybody on any floor.
I agree.
I'd like to go to the game. I mean, I might go. I might be headed over there for the game. But the Turkish sensation there, Alper and Şengün.
You love him. You love that guy.
I mean, he's like baby Jokic, He's not the best athlete on the floor, although when you watch him go up and dunk, he surprises you at how quickly he gets that massive body up, dunks, and gets out of there, right?
Yeah.
But a tremendous ball handler, tremendous passer, great court vision, great touch shooting from anywhere on the floor. He rebounds, he defends. I mean, he might be the next Nikola Jokic. I mean, this Şengün is also really, really young. Another one of the brat pack of the NBA, the NBA's brat pack, the youth of the NBA, the next faces of the NBA. So the Houston Rockets are going to be a tough task for the Magic, and it'll tell us something this week.
Yeah, they have, 4-game homestead. All right, so they are 31 and 26. They're the 7th seed, but they're like 2 games out of the 5th seed. They're right there. Houston, Detroit, that's the game I want to go to on Sunday. Detroit's number 1 seed right now. Washington and Dallas. Hey, this is it. And I'm going to say something to you. I know you might punch me out for saying this. Okay. The best player on the court last night was Paolo Banchero. And Luka is great. Luka is unstoppable at times.
The only reason I disagree is because there's 2 ways of looking at that. Which player had the best game last night? Paolo Banchero.
Yeah, that's how I'm looking at it.
Paolo Banchero. So I would say, what player had the best game last night? Paolo Banchero. But does that make him the best player on the court? My opinion, it goes back to it's LeBron and it's Luka. LeBron in his heyday, obviously, he's a little bit older now and not as able to do what he used to do. Excuse me. But Luka Doncic is still one of the best players on the planet.
Yes.
And I don't put Paolo quite there yet. So I wouldn't say he's the best player on the court, but I will agree he had the best game.
That game last night, he was the difference. He was all over the place, and he shut down Luka when it mattered. I'm going to say something to you. I've seen enough games. I like Luka. Stop complaining to the referees. stop. Just you have, dude. You got to chill out.
Hey, can you imagine? Can you imagine what it must be like to referee a Lakers game right now?
Oh my! With him
Because
and
you got
LeBron.
the two biggest whiners in NBA history, Luka Doncic and LeBron James.
Oh my God. The other thing that's kind of weird is I think Austin Reeves, it's like he's really studying Luka because there's times where he starts playing like Luka. I don't know if that's good or bad because he'll go ISO and start doing these Luka moves.
He's a great player, though.
For a guy who was undrafted, you know what I mean? Like, and now he's on the Lakers. It's insane. But
not just on the Lakers, he was on Team USA.
Yeah, that's wild, dude. That really was. So that was a good win. And look, they beat the Clippers by 2 points as well. So it's like, hey, those are good wins.
It's a great win. And like you said, they got to come back and continue that form playing at home. And I tell you, I thought they defended well. To hold the Lakers to 109 with the firepower they have on their home court in Los Angeles, that I think
awesome.
And Mosley, in fairness to Mosley, because he's taking his hits this year, right? As we know, they've had a lot of key injuries throughout the year. And it's hard to win. You know, the old saying, you can't win the Kentucky Derby riding a jackass. Okay? You got to have thoroughbreds. Well,
damn right.
If you were Mosley this year, how many nights have you gone out there, looked at your bench, and the thoroughbreds were in plain clothes? So you've had Banchero out. You've had Suggs out. You've had Wagner out. I mean, thoroughbred after thoroughbred has been out. They've just gone through an ungodly number of injuries to key personnel. And secondly, they rest their hat on defense. I've been to watch them practice multiple times. If you go over there early in the season, they don't talk about being a team that's going to lead the NBA in scoring. They're not OKC or the Boston Celtics. Or San Antonio Spurs. They're not like those teams, okay, who are more offensive-oriented right now. They are a defensive-oriented team. And last night, even again, with some of their thoroughbreds out and not available, they go there and win. And I think it's the defensive. They only scored 110 points. Most nights in the NBA now, 110 won't get it done. But they got it done on the road against a good team with great talent, because they limited that team to 109 points.
All right, here's how I'm looking at it, and we'll end with this. The thing with Franz Wagner is I know. You know, it's funny. You know, I forgot to bring this up to you. 4-game homestand. Then they go to Minnesota, and the game's going to be on Amazon Prime as the game of the night.
And man, you know who will be watching that game?
This guy right here is going to be watching it. I kind of feel like the Franz Wagner thing, look, I need you out there. I know, look, I don't want to have long-term problems, but dude, they need Franz Wagner. They need him. Give me 10 minutes off the bench if we're going to make the playoffs. Give me something give me the Willis Reed 2 buckets. Honestly, I'm at the point like, oh, wait till next year. No. Next year is now for this team. Give me, all right, sit out as much as you can, but we need you playoff time. That's how I look at it with Franz.
Well, you know how I feel on that, and we've said this before together, but I look back and say, you know, I don't really believe he was ready enough to play when they went to Europe. But they were going to his home, you know? They were playing in Germany. He's a German player on the Orlando Magic. He's the face. You know, there's no Dirk Nowitzki now. There's Franz Wagner. He's the German face of basketball in the NBA. And I know that they wanted him to play. Everybody in Germany wanted to see Franz Wagner play. So the Magic had a lot of pressure on him to play him. I'm sure Franz wanted to play in front of his family, his friends, and his home country. And that emotion probably took him over the edge in making a good decision. And he played over there when he probably wasn't quite ready to play yet. Then he just tweaks it just enough to set him back again, right? But this time, I agree with you. If he's out there in the playoffs, they're a much better basketball team. And they could surprise some people and maybe make a run even as a lower seed. They could upset somebody as a lower seed if they're at full strength. So I want to see him back. But this time I want to know he's healthy, completely healthy, and not back for the wrong reasons.
And again, I'm not expecting, I don't need 40 minutes a night. I don't need that from you. Give me something. Honestly, you want my opinion? I think the Eastern Conference is not good. I don't. Maybe the Pistons. See, that's why that game Sunday is going to be interesting to see how they match up. Because Detroit's the best team.
I agree, but it's the Western Conference right now has just got such loaded teams and great talent. I mean, if the NBA All-Star game was like it used to be in the old days, East versus West, I'm taking the West every year.
I think the Spurs can get to the finals right now. I think they're that talented.
I mean, if they stay healthy, again, if they're healthy, you can take any Western Conference team. Look at the Denver Nuggets, okay? And I'm going to make my plug again for MVP. It's before we get off here, right?
The Joker. Is that
Mark, let's look at something here. I just looked at these stats today. The league leader in scoring is Luka Doncic, okay? He's averaging 32.5 points per game, okay? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is second in scoring at 31.8, okay? But if you look a little further down, sixth in scoring at 28.8, Nikola Jokic. Number 6 in scoring, okay? Let's flip the page. Assist. Who leads the league in assist?
Joker.
At 10.5 assists a game. Number 1. Wait, let me finish. Where do I find SGA on the top 10?
You don't.
Nowhere. Now, Luka Doncic is third. So he leads the league in scoring, and he's third in assist at 8.6 assists a game. How about that, right? So Joker and Luka are both top 10 in scoring and assists. Then you go to rebounds. Who leads the league in rebounds?
Joker.
12.5 rebounds a game. Now, wait.
What?
Is SGA on that list, top 10? No. Is Luka on that list, top 10? No. There's only one player that appears top 10 in all 3 lists. He leads the league in assists. He leads the league in rebounds. He's 6th in scoring. He is, again, the MVP. He should have been last year. He is the best in the league. And stop trying to give it away to other players to spread the love until somebody actually is in all 3 of these stats better than him. He's the GOAT. He's the MVP. And he's the reason the Denver Nuggets might still have a run to the final 2.
Okay, the other people, and now you're going to yell at me. I think Cade Cunningham is going to get votes for if they're the 1 seed. He's their best player. The other one, because of the New York.
But where is Cade Cunningham? Does he lead the league in any category?
Would you
Is he in the top 10 in all 3 categories?
Do you think Jalen Brunson should be a finalist?
No. And here's why. I'll tell you why. I make this simple statement. To be what's known as elite, if you're an elite player, a lot of great players in the NBA. I'm not saying these guys aren't great players and they're the best player on their team, okay? But to be MVP, the most valuable player in the league, you need to be elite, right? The measurement of elite to me, points, assists, rebounds, 3 biggest stats. And there's a lot of other stats that matter, but nothing matters more than those 3 for winning games, right? Points, assists, rebounds. If you're only in one, this is my argument against Shai last year. If you're only in one of those categories, then are you the best player in the league? You're not even elite in the 3 top categories. You're elite in 1. But when you appear in all 3, you're an elite scorer, you're an elite passer, you're an elite rebounder. My God, you must be the best player in the NBA.
I just want you to know, when they had that All-Star game, which I loved, by the way, all those great players are out there, but Wemby was like, it was like kind of like Shaq when he first came in the league with the Magic. Like, you couldn't keep your eyes off him. And he's blocking shots, and you're just like, what the hell is this? Like, you can't, just of all those great players, Wemby was like, what are we doing here?
Hey,
it's amazing.
I'm glad you brought that up because it leads me into one other point I did want to make before we break.
Okay.
Wemby was awesome in that All-Star game, and I thought, why? Because he wanted to win.
Yeah.
A lot of those guys still, They were great to see them out there, but it still wasn't competitive, okay? There were a lot of times the guys that didn't want to win, guys that were sort of injured and just showed up to be in the game, and then they just sat out the second game and sat on the bench. So they showed up to be there and for the fans, so the fans that showed up could see their favorites, the best players in the league. But it still wasn't as competitive. Wemby was competitive. He wanted to coach. You know, he was like coaching the team. You know, it's like, we need to do this. So competitive nature is why he's going to be one of the GOAT candidates if he can stay healthy, right?
And he motivated other players on the
Yes, Mark.
Kawhi Leonard went crazy.
Well, and so look at something else. I'm glad you brought that up, motivation. That was my second point. Mm-hmm. Wemby's want to win, the desire to be great, motivated a guy from here.
Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards said, you know, he was going to be in the three-point contest, and whether he won or not wasn't that. He said, but then he saw Wemby wanting to win so bad, and you know, he's like, man, I need to go out and win this thing. And he wins the three-point championship. No, sorry, doesn't win the three-point championship. He wins the most valuable player award. But he was motivated to win that, to give his all, to play harder, because he's watching Wemby want to win, right?
Yeah. See, all right, we saw the Joker play, and I'm happy you and me got to experience this. We got to see Wemby play.
I agree.
We have to, and we have to walk by him.
And you know, you got to watch the Ant-Man, because he's worth the price of admission as well. The smile on his face, right, is just as much as value as the passion that Wemby has, right? Ant-Man loves playing basketball.
Yeah.
If he walked by a street game in Rucker Park in New York City, and it was off season, and there were guys hooping, he'd probably walk out there and say, I got a game. Okay, let me play. But the passion, I've seen him up close, you know, and his smile, his passion to play, his love of the game, he wants to prove night in and night out that he's the best player on the floor. That's how he approaches every game. And that's why he's a superstar. But again, it motivates guys around him. I watched that game last night before I watched, or kind of back and forth, watching the UCF BYU game. I watched the Portland Minnesota game. And there was a play in that game, right? Edwards carried the team. He had 30-plus points like he always does, right? But his passion motivates the guys around him. And I thought the key to the game, and my good friend Chris Finch is just doing an excellent job coaching that team. They've been through a lot as well. They had some big trades. Players leave. Players came in. You know, so he's been through a lot, but he's doing a great job, and they're back on track. But the play of the game didn't come from one of the heralded superstars. It was a tie ball game. Could go either way at the end of the third quarter. The final play of the third quarter, Portland dribbles the ball right across half court, and Chris calls a trap. Minneapolis, Minnesota, the fans are going nuts back there in Minnesota, right? Minnesota traps Portland as they cross half court. And it's a big trap right there on him. And Dante DiVincenzo, Villanova's own Dante DiVincenzo. Most people know him as a three-point shooter, right? As one of the best threats from outside for the Timberwolves. Dante's one of the guys in the trap. And as it gets tighter and tighter and tougher, and the Portland Trailblazer guard just is like, oh my God, why are they trapping me? It's 4 seconds, 6 seconds, whatever. The half's almost over, and they trapped me, or the quarter. And he turns, and DiVincenzo reaches, grabs the ball, and just snatches it from him. Goes down, uncontested layup to close the quarter, giving Minnesota the lead and momentum going into the fourth quarter. They played off that momentum to win the game in the fourth quarter on the road. But I saw something in Dante DiVincenzo that people don't see. A lot of people watch the NBA and they'll say, oh, I'd rather watch college basketball. The NBA, you know, they don't show up till the playoffs, or they don't show up till the fourth quarter. That was a play at the end of the third quarter. And it shows that to guys in the NBA, It matters. And every single play matters to teams that are still trying to win and trying to position themselves for the postseason. That was a great play to end the quarter, and by somebody that is a glue guy, not the guy that leads them in scoring every night, not going to lead them in rebounding every night, not going to even lead them in assists every night. But he starts for that team every night because of how hard he plays, and he showed that last night, stripping, taking it away with seconds left to go and create momentum for his team to win in the fourth quarter on the road. That's what you got to look at. Always look. Don't just watch the superstars, Anthony Edwards get his 35. That's fun. That's great. But watch the other guys that make big plays that help their team win big games.
Great stuff. Coach Mims, thank you so much for coming on. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you around, all right?
Thanks, Mark.